Welcome everybody to Talking Reds. This is the live match reaction from Southampton versus Liverpool, where Liverpool won 3-2. You are here with me, Stu, and Rhys. Thank you very much for joining us. Okay, so first initial reactions. Is it a little bit of relief? Is it a little bit of, damn, we should have done better than that? What are your thoughts, Rhys?
For me, both feelings. Relief, like I said, I just had to go and get myself a hot drink to get myself, calm myself back down, because obviously that game was a lot more tricky than it needed to be. Obviously we should have played a lot better, but I don't know what it is. I think it is with Liverpool as well. They sometimes they like to make things hard. I don't know if it's like something to do with the club. They like to put the fans through this edge of your seat instead of just having a calm, nice, relaxed Sunday. They want to try and make your Sunday stressed, and then you're thinking about the rest of the week. Oh, we're going to bottle this opportunity to go 8 points clear. But yeah, the most important thing, we've got the 3 points got over the line, but we definitely need to improve, especially for the next couple games with Real Madrid and Man City coming up if we want to win those games.
100% agree with that. That is the game today for me. At the end of the day, when you look at it on paper, it is top of the league versus bottom of the league. But football's football. It never writes itself the way it should do in a script. That should have been a battering. We shouldn't have taken our foot off the gas or anything like that. We should have won that 4 or 5-0 easy. But we made life incredibly difficult for ourselves today. And again, I put that mainly down to the international break, because I still believe that having those international breaks knocks us out of our flow. And you see it every single game after those breaks where we do struggle, but we still managed to find a way. And I suppose at the end of the day, that's all that matters, is that we found a way to win it. And realistically, Salah could have had a hat-trick by the end of it.
Yeah,
Probably should have.
He was unlucky for me, especially with the one against the post. He couldn't have done any more. He got great contact, and then then he had the one before where he cut in and it just went over the bar. But I did think it was going to be one of those days when we went behind, and then I think Salah put Nunes in, and Nunes squared it to Diaz, and Diaz missed it. Oh, it looks like, you can see the writings on the wall. It's like it's not clicking. So I was thinking, as I was saying this to my dad when I was watching the game, we'll be lucky if we get a draw. But Salah turned the game on his head, like the game on its head, like what he usually does, where he was kind of ghosting the first half, but he just decided enough's enough, and pulled his socks up and was like, I'm going to take this game by the scruff of the neck, and we need to win this game. He understood. So
the Egyptian king had to take his crown off, leave it on the sidelines, and just get himself dirty for a little bit.
All credit to Salah. That's
before
what Mo does, but yeah.
Exactly. Right, before we go any further, for anybody that's watching, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you do enjoy this content, and make sure you share this channel around. We're trying to get a decent boost up on it. But firstly, I'm going to try and break it down like sort of by half first, more than anything else. First off, itself, I think for the first 30 minutes, we were totally in control. All the way up to our goal, which Southampton, I have no idea what they were playing at for that first goal. That roll out by the keeper, and then the pass back to their centre-back, and then the centre-back clearing it to Szoboszlai, and him slotting it pretty much into the top corner. Great finish, by the way. It was a difficult finish, that one, on his wrong foot.
Underrated finish for me, but he does have that in his locker. That's why I hope he can kick on from here, because he needs to kick on. The thing he needs to add really is just more goals. But I'm not sure what they were doing, because we had a chance, and then when you're watching it on Sky, they're kind of showing you the replay of your chance, and then when it came back on, the ball was in the net. So I had to see it afterwards. It happened so quickly.
Yeah,
but they just had a calamities, and
I think we were all in that position. We're like, oh right, okay, so watch it. Oh, hang on, is it the back? What happened there?
What happened there? Yeah.
It's in the back of the net. We didn't see anything, so we had to watch all the replays. I think the big problem with Southampton is that the manager wants an identity for their team, but he just clearly hasn't got the players for it, and that is where they're going to come unstuck, and that's where eventually they did come unstuck today. If it wasn't, and okay, we're all going to have to talk about it, for a contentious, I'm going to say that very loosely, a contentious penalty decision. For me, it's not even about the penalty. Looking at the pictures, yes, you can look at them and go, Is his foot on the line? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. You'd have to really analyze and get in there with a magnifying glass to really see if his foot was actually on the line or not. Because if it is, then it's a penalty. But it's the build-up before the penalty. It was the slack pass by Konate, the slack pass by... In fact, it was Verge that lost the ball that led up to that. And then Robbo going in my opinion, quite rashly. He didn't need to make that challenge, as far as I'm concerned. And it kind of showed a little bit of perhaps he's not quite in the game at the moment. Overall, as soon as it was given, I didn't think it was going to get overturned. I couldn't see it being overturned myself. Not the way the officials have been at the moment. Would you agree with that? I don't know. It's
yeah. If I had to put my 2 cents in, I would say I don't think it was, because it was just the foul was committed just outside the box. I know he fell into the box, but it's more where the foul was given. Obviously, I know some of us are saying it was, some of us saying it isn't, but we also more got to look at, like what you said, how we gave away that penalty, because it was kind of needless. I think the first half, I think they started quicker. It looked like to me they started a bit better, but we were controlling the game. They weren't really doing anything, but they did start. They looked like they were up for the game, being the home team, having their fans behind them. Then we got the goal kind of against, like we kind of stepped up. I think the last 5 or 10 minutes we started pressing them, and that's how we were able to kind of force them into mistakes, and we got the goal. Then after that I thought, okay, try and get to half time with at 1-0. But then Verge had the ball, was running with the ball, got caught with the ball. I'm not sure what he was thinking about. So obviously Verge is mainly more at fault there. But for me, Robinson, you got to be more calmer. You just got to stay on your feet as long as you can. I know it's probably a daunting situation and you're thinking, what should I do? But with the experience, a player of Robinson, with his experience, he should know better. And the last thing you should do is try and commit. So I agree 100% that I think, yeah, once it was given, they're not going to reverse it. But for me, again, VAR and the PGMO, like I said, need to be looked at in general, not just for decisions against Liverpool, but against all teams in the Premier League. Because yet again, you've got the technology there, and it's clear and obvious, and you're saying that there's no evidence. How is there no evidence when you've got cameras there? That doesn't make no sense. That just tells me corruption. That again, but yeah, first half, I think, based on how we played, kind of fair to go in at 1-1 because we didn't play great. We got a goal against the runner play from a mistake, and then we gave them a goal. So yeah, I think 1-1 was kind of fair. As much as I wanted us to be winning, it was kind of fair to be 1-1 at half time.
Yeah, I think 1-1 at half time was a fair result. I mean, looking at my notes here, another player I picked out. One good player, actually, I would say Kelleher. I think penalty save, he did really well. He was a little bit unlucky with the rebound. But he made a couple of minutes before that penalty as well. He made a really good stop at close range again. Again, Kelleher proving just how good he really is. I'm going to say it again. He deserves to be a number one somewhere. He's not going to be a number one at Liverpool. That is clear. But he deserves to be a number one somewhere. He is a class goalkeeper. And again, he showed it in that half. But again, I think also the problem being with Liverpool at the moment, for some reason, and it's only sometimes, and it was definitely evident today, was that I feel in the first half we were just a little bit too cocky, a little bit too arrogant about it. And I don't mind arrogance and things like that being played out in a game as long as you're doing the right things. But there was too many players on the pitch today that were doing the wrong things in that first half and not backing up how the game should go. Núñez was another prime example. He was running around like a headless chicken. He offered nothing in that first 45 minutes. In fact, to be fair, I don't think he really offered too much throughout the game. I'm a little bit disappointed in that because this is the way I see it, and I'll come on to this after we've done the second half part, but I see Núñez as this is his make or break season.
100%. I agree. I do agree.
Does he want to stay here or not? Because at the moment, it doesn't look like he does. To me.
She's not messing about. He's asking the questions.
No,
I don't think he was great. He was okay today, but I just feel he needs to be doing more. I know we're going to talk about service and stuff, but at the same time, you need to be trying. You got to be trying to do. You got to try and do more, because for me, you're not the starting striker. You're only playing right now because Jota is injured.
Yep.
And this is your 3rd season as well, so there's no more of this. He needs time. He needs to get used to the league or the style of play or the language. There's some parts of his game I do like. I do like he has that nasty side in him, because I don't know if you saw. Did you see where he kind of took out Dibble? Causing problems, and he just went, you know what? That I kind of do like that side and the passion, but you just got to try and start trying to get some more goals. I know you need service as well, but great strikers, they create stuff out of nothing as well. You got to try. You got to try and impose yourself. And if you look, Salah's not a natural striker, but he kind of imposed himself on the game again today. He just decided, like, you know what? I could see that we're gonna potentially drop points here. We need to find a way to get over the line. I have to do something, and I got to do it now. And for me, Núñez, he's doing okay, but Liverpool level, that's not enough. You need to be doing more. You got to do more for me. So we'll see. Time will tell. But at the minute, I think Jota's going to come straight back in once Jota's available, or Diaz is going to go through the middle. I just have a soon, especially against Real Madrid. I'll be surprised if Núñez starts. I can see Diaz playing through the middle. But
yeah, that's a fair shout, I suppose. I mean, I think the thing that summed it up for me in the first half was the fact that the Southampton crowd were chanting at Núñez, calling him just a shite Andy Carroll.
Wow, I didn't even hear that. Oh,
yeah, I picked up on it. I was like, things aren't going your way when you got the bottom team of the Premier League. Their fans are chanting that you're a shite Andy Carroll. Things aren't going your way when that sort of thing starts happening. So for me at the moment, and I defended him a lot over the last couple of seasons, say that he will get better and he'll improve. He's still young. But at the moment, I'm having to eat some of my words because he's not producing that. But on to the second half of it, and we got kind of lucky within the first 5 minutes of that, because the Black Peter Crouch got subbed off, and he was giving us a torrid time on Awachu. To be fair, actually, I didn't know anything about the player, but he had a good game for Southampton. Then coming into the second half, I actually think Southampton started the second half a lot better than we did. And they gave us a bit of a torrid time for the first 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Up until the goal, when they scored, I was like, oh, no, we went 2-1 down. That's not good. Tyler Dibbling ran us ragged, ran Robbo ragged on that. But then, in pure typical Southampton fashion, it was their own mistake that let us in.
Yeah.
And you don't want to let Salah in on a mistake.
You don't want to give him a sniff, because he will punish you, and that's exactly what he did. There's one player I want to give another shout out to for Southampton. I think his name's Fernandez. I think he's the one. I think he's the one who scored the second goal, but he was causing us all sorts of problems. His movement, his weight of pass, the positions, the little pockets he was picking up. They do look like they have a few good players, a few good youngsters coming through, but they also look like they got a few. Because I was watching him and I was like, who is this guy? Because I didn't know who he was before this game. Well, now he's definitely left an impression on me. So shout out to Fernandez from Southampton, talented player.
He was another one I wrote down. Yeah, he played pretty well. He finished his goal very well, and he did give our back line a bit of a torrid time. I don't think he's a striker. I think he's an attacking midfielder. Similar sort of position to what Zob plays. But no, he played pretty well. But as I say, after the typical Southampton mistake, obviously they let us in for 2-2, and then that penalty, there was literally no contention about that at all. That was a stonewall penalty all day long. I don't know what Sugawara was playing at, but we'll take it, and it let us in.
I think glitch in the matrix. He was stuck between a rock and a hard place. Didn't know what to do.
Yeah, it's because it was one of them. Like, so you jump into it, and your arms there. You're like, oh no, what can I do? Oh, too late. It's already happened, sort of thing. It's one of those. And I think in the end, we finished the game off quite comfortably in that second half, and it was pretty much after that second goal all us. We just didn't let them get back into the game, which is how we should have done it in the first half, realistically.
Yeah.
But I think again, looking at the squad and looking at the players after the game and now like sort of just digesting a few bits and pieces, 2 players I'm going to single out as ones who I think had a bad game, and I'm going to single out 1 player who I think had a good game, but not man of the match. I'll come to man of the match later on. 2 players I think who are up for discussion on this one. First one being Konate. Konate's been a rock this season. Do not get me wrong. Anybody watching this, do not slate me in the comments. Konate has been good this season. In fact, he's been an absolute wall along with Van Dijk. But today, in my opinion, he was abysmal. He did not have a good game. He was misplacing passes. He was pushing people over, and really shouldn't be doing that. Because you're potentially going to give the referee a reason to give a foul in silly positions. It just seemed to lack a lot of composure today, and the same goes for my second pick, and that would be Robertson as well. You're losing that yard, and we've discussed it before. I think Robbo has lost that yard, and again, don't get me wrong, he's been an absolute stalwart for the club. One of the best left backs in the world up until probably a year or so ago, 2 years ago maybe. But for a consistent 2 or 3 seasons, he was one of the best left backs in the world, and you can't take that away from him. But at the moment, it's looking like that he is on probably his last legs for the club. I don't know whether you'd agree with those 2 like sort of reviews of the players, Konate and Robertson, on that one, Rhys?
Yeah, I don't think, but neither of them had great games. I'll start with Konate first. I think he looked rusty, but he was making decisions where you're not thinking about it, you're just going into it. He just looked a tad off the pace. Obviously, I think he's got to be held accountable 100%, but I do think international break potentially as well, coming back into it. I saw 1 or 2 moments where he did 1 or 2 fouls. I think there was one he kind of had to make for me, because I think he got past one of the other players, so he just fouled him to stop the attack, which I could accept. But yeah, he did look a bit like in the past where he's kind of had that bozo gene. Obviously, he's been phenomenal for us. He's been a rock at the back, and I do think he's one of the best centre backs in the world. I just think he didn't have a great game today, and he kind of got let off because we did get the win. So if he can put that to the side and it's just for today, and he steps up against Real Madrid and steps up against Man City and goes back into how he was before the international break, I'll have no complaints, because we have off games with Robinson. Like I said, he's been a phenomenal player for us. Can't speak highly enough of Robinson in terms of what he's achieved for us. The assists, the defending, but we got to remember he's kind of been on the decline for the last 2 seasons, and I just think Slot's system, he's not. I think he's more used to a Klopp system where he's able to bomb up and down the wing, fullback position, whereas he looks like he's lost some pace. His confidence looks like it's lacking, and where his bread and butter was, which was the defensively first, he looks like he's even questioning some of the things he does defensively, because he's acting a lot more rash. So I'm not sure with Robinson, because for me, I would move him on at the end of the season. I know a lot of other fans might be like, that's a bit harsh, but it's not the first time. And a lot of the decisions he's making, it doesn't look like mistakes. It looks like someone who's not at that level anymore. When you make a mistake, one game here and there, that's fine. But he's done it against Arsenal, whereas prime Robinson doesn't let Saka come in like that. Today, a prime Robinson doesn't commit. And then even end product going forward is not great. A lot of the time his crosses is not beating the first man. It's sad to see, because he's been such a great player for us, but
it's one of those like, so I've said it before in other streams. It was like watching Fabinho a couple of seasons back, and you knew, you kind of like, oh, hang on, something's not quite right here. He's well off the pace. His legs have gone a little bit. He's not just quite with it, and you can see exactly the same thing happening with Robertson. And you're right, it's sad to see, because he has been such a good player for the club, won everything, and went toe-to-toe with Trent for the assist record as well. He's won the highest assist in fullbacks in league history. So that can't be taken away from him. But you're right. Against Arsenal, Saka ripped him a new one. He got dropped after that game, and Tsimikas came in for a couple of games.
I think Tsimikas was injured. I think that's why he didn't play. Apparently, that's why.
The thing is, we've got two massive games coming up now.
Yeah, for me, if Tsimikas is not available, I'll start Gomez because I'm not sure why he hasn't started him yet. But we saw last season he was the one playing left back for most of the season. He can play there. So until we're able to get a left back, I would play Gomez. If Tsimikas is back, then put Tsimikas. But for me, at some point, it's going to cost us points. Today, we kind of got out of jail.
Yeah, I totally agree. If it was against a higher side,
we wouldn't have got out of jail. We would have lost the game. We would have been lucky to get a point. So we got to look at what's causing us problems. Because obviously, again, overall, we weren't great for the whole game. Again, I know we've just come back, but at some point, we've got to try and kick into gear. And I do think January, we have to sign 1 or 2 players. If it's not a left back and a DM, for me, those are the 2 positions that need addressing right now. I think a striker can wait till the summer.
Yeah, but we've got plenty of goals in the team. Plenty of goals in the team. It's just structurally where do we need the players to like sort of fill in the gaps? And again, before I come on to the player who I think like sort of stood out in our team today, I think there was a couple of moments where Southampton were passing it amongst themselves in the first half. And they found a couple of gaps in our midfield, huge gaps, in fact, that they played virtually straight through us. Jones and Gravenberch and Szoboszlai were all out of positions. Like, it happened a couple of times, and I've seen it happen before in other games that we played. And it just, for me, it necessitates the need for that sort of DM to guard that back 4 a little bit more. I don't know. I mean, I don't know whether you noticed it, especially today. A couple of times, I think it was Diblin passing the ball through to Fernandez or knocking it onto Onuachu, and there was huge gaps in our midfield. I think that tightened up a lot more in the second half. Slot obviously changed a couple of things tactically, but in the first half, it was gaping holes.
Yeah, that's not the first time today. I think I've seen that all season, that gap in the transition at times, and we've kind of been lucky.
In a way, yeah, we've got away with it a little bit.
Get punished, but we do need to address that. I keep looking at the gap and think, why is there such a gap? Even for their second goal, everyone was ball watching and everyone came over to the left-hand side and it left the space. I think Nunes was the only one that kind of saw the guy who was making the run, but it was already kind of too late.
Yeah, you had Konate, Van Dijk, and Bradley. All of a sudden, all 3 of them just went.
They all went over, and I was like, they're leaving the space. Like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
It's
probably one of the easiest goals that Fernandez is ever going to have, to be fair.
I did think the writing was on the wall once they went in front. I was like, we'll be lucky to get a draw. So the fact we've managed to get the points, I'm happy. Just we definitely need to improve the performance, and there's certain things within the team that need to be addressed.
I think when it comes down to, like, let's say, I'm going to go on to, before we go on to the man of match for today, I think because he's had his detractors this season, I've said it as well, but I think today a fair shout for a good game has to go for Szoboszlai. Not just his finish on the goal, but I think that's what we want to see a bit more of.
Yeah.
He wasn't perfect. Nobody in the team was perfect today, but I think out of all the players that were on the pitch,
he stepped up.
He stepped up a little bit more, and I think he played pretty well. One of the better performances I've seen him play in a red shirt probably for the last few months, I would say. I know he's had his detractors. I know he's had a bit of stick on the social media and things like that, and we've mentioned it in the chat groups, like, sort of can't quite explain. We know he's a talented player, but obviously he's trying to play in a different system, and Slot's asking him to perform in slightly different ways to what he was used to under Klopp. But I think today we actually saw a little bit of the old Dom that we want to see again. I don't know whether you'd agree with that or not, but
no, I think he performed a lot better today. For me, in terms of his work rate, he always performs in terms of work rate. We know he works hard. We know he's athletic. He's quite quick. He's good off the ball, like winning tackles, breaking up, like applying pressure with the press and breaking up the other team's attacks. It's just we want him to offer more going forward. And today he got his goal. So if he can continue, like I said, I'm hoping that kind of kicks him into gear, because the way he celebrated, he looked like somebody who was just as relieved as the rest of us or the fans who want him to do well. He looked really relieved that he got that goal. And we did say as well that the finish, very underrated finish. So it does show that in flashes, he is a good player. All this that he's not a good player. The thing is, he just needs to start showing it on a consistent basis, and hopefully he can go on a run and just start scoring more goals. So yeah,
that's the key word there, consistency.
Yeah, hopefully he can, like I said, long may it continue. He can, like, because for me, he's another one this season. There's a big season for him because obviously Elliot's coming back now as well. Elliot was on the bench, so I do think
gonna put pressure on him.
Yeah, he's going to put pressure, and then you've got Curtis Jones as well. Because for me, the only tweak today as well that I haven't seen is I would swap Szoboszlai and Curtis Jones around and put Szoboszlai alongside Gravenberch and put Curtis further up. If Szoboszlai is not gonna, if he's not gonna kind of wake up and start scoring, which he did today, because I think Curtis, he likes to have touches and have time on the ball, and when you're playing in the double pivot, you're not going to get all that time. So it's like you could see he was trying to figure it out. Whereas if he's in the 10, he can do all of that. And he's playing slightly better, I think, than Szoboszlai. So we'll see if Slot does try that out. But yeah,
we'll see what the future holds on that one. Okay, so we have a couple of minutes left. I think it's time for the man and match reveals. Mine's blatantly obvious. I'm presuming yours is probably going to be blatantly obvious as well, Rhys.
Yeah, I think it's clear. If it wasn't going to be Salah, I would have said Kelleher, because I do think Kelleher was great today with the penalty, and he did save. He kept us in the game. Before then, I think they had a chance where the ball got played and he saved it, and it got tipped around for a corner. So obviously, it's gonna have to go to Salah because he got the 2 goals, he got the match winner, he got us back on level terms, and he's big game Mo. And like I said, he's kind of knocking the door again. He's letting FSG and Edwards and Hughes know where's the contract, what's going on, and all of
get it sorted.
Get it sorted. Stop messing about, because if you don't, someone else will. So
that was going to be my pick as well, and actually Kelleher was going to be my second pick. So we're pretty much identical on that one. I mean, come on, Liverpool. Get it sorted. Get the contract sorted out. Stop fanning around with it. The one thing I do worry about is that Salah clearly has that king star element. He is our star player.
Yeah.
When that goes, what happens? We haven't got anything to back that up with at the moment.
No.
So if anything, we need to keep him at least for another season or two. Just to make sure.
I don't see why not for me, because he doesn't look like he's declining. Every time, don't get me wrong, he goes through periods through the season where his form dips like most players, but he kind of always reinvents himself. Whereas if you look, Slot's style of play is slightly different. It's more pragmatic, more controlled. And he looks like he's even improved as a player. He's kind of so he's not rushing things now. He's kind of taking his time. Kind of playing the game at his pace. And like I said, I don't want to lose none of the 3, but Trent, we can afford to lose if Trent does go. For me, Virgil and Mo, we're not ready. We can't afford to lose them right now, because they're 2 linchpins that we kind of need at the back and at the front to kind of help the other players develop. So yeah,
I think that's a fair review of the situation at the moment. Liverpool, get it sorted, get the contract sorted out. We still need him at this club. As simple as that. Right, that's taken us nearly up to the half-hour mark, so I'm going to call it a day there. Thank you very much for you guys watching. As I say, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Daily content coming out about Liverpool. And we're now into the crunch period. We're coming into the Christmas period, so there's going to be plenty of games, plenty of videos coming out. So you're not going to want to miss any of this, are you? Right. Thank you very much, Rhys, for joining us. And I shall catch you on the next